Hi everyone, I'm Shannon. I run I Read YA, and I'm so excited to welcome you to The Dreamer Files, our very first Raven Reread book club. To get ready for Call Down the Hawk, we are going to be talking about The Raven Boys, the very first reread that we've done in the Raven cycle, and I am so excited to talk about all of this.
Hi guys, I'm Maya. I work in editorial, and I'm really lucky because I actually get to work on Maggie's books, but I've felt a lot of shame for a long time because I never actually read the Raven cycle, and it has been so fun actually catching up and understanding what people are talking about.
You're here, you're with us now.
Yeah, so if you've never read it before, join me, it's okay. Also at the end of the video, we have a message from Maggie. She's gonna give you some behind the scenes on writing the Raven Boys. The Raven Boys came out right as I was going to college, and for me that summer I was working at an overnight summer camp. Like school ended, went to camp, and then camp ended and school began, and so
You had no time.
Yeah, I think I just missed the boat, and then there was this amazing vibrant fandom, and I was just oh, just not part of it. I'm too late.
But
you're
now
never
you're not.
too late.
You're never too late. I had an opposite experience to
Yes.
you. I read it the summer before I went to college. I don't even remember how I found it. I just checked it out from my library. I thought, this, looks cool. I'll try it.
Yeah.
I read it, finished it all at 3 a.m. one night. It was the summer, so it was fine.
Every book lover knows that feeling.
Yes, I have to keep reading.
Yeah.
And then I was obsessed with it, and none of the other books had come out. There was no fandom. I looked on Tumblr. Imagine looking up the Raven cycle on Tumblr and nothing coming up, because that was me. And
You're the original.
I'm the original. And none of my friends would read it because they were all going to college. And so I just kind of waited. I guess we should say that we have both read Call Down the Hawk.
Oh, right. That's very important. So even though I haven't read the Raven cycle, I have read Call Down the Hawk. And they really do just stand apart because I don't feel like I know what happens in these books, even though I've read a book that takes place after the events of this.
Yeah. That being said, if you have read the Raven cycle, there's obviously things that you pick up on, but we're not going to be spoiling anything yet on Call Down the Hawk.
I mean, I feel like we can spoil the fact that it's really good and you should all read it.
Yes. So you guys sent in a bunch of questions. Are you ready for them?
I feel ready, yes.
Okay. Which character would you choose to help you in an apocalypse?
If I could convince him to help me, I would pick Ronan because I feel like he's the scrappiest and the one who's a survivor the most. But I feel like he probably wouldn't want to help me.
I agree, because that was my very first thought too. I thought, okay, Ronan, can pull things out of his dreams. We would have an ultimate supply of provisions. But I really don't think he would help.
Yeah,
I think he would make things worse.
Look at us and be like, that's dead weight right there.
Yeah.
They're holding me back.
Yeah. Maya, we have to talk about Noah.
We do.
One of the questions that was asked was about your first impression of Noah, so I want to start there.
My first impression of Noah is just almost that he was a non-character because we didn't know anything about him, and everyone else is described so well, and he's just kind of there, and he's described as smudgy, and I was like, what does that mean that he's smudgy?
I never really dug into that when I was reading it the first time. Everyone just says he's smudgy, as if it's a normal thing for a person to be.
Yeah, oh yeah, my smudgy friend.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why Noah was in it, honestly. It felt like you could write him out and it wouldn't make a difference, but then obviously that changes.
Yes. Let's talk about that moment.
I sent you this text from where I was going through the plot twist. Okay, so at the very beginning when Noah is introduced, I said to you, Noah says he's been dead for 7 years, and I know he's probably joking, but if there are actual undead in this book, I'm going to lose it. 3 skull emojis.
That was one of the first texts you sent to me when you started rereading this book, reading this book, and I just had to be like, oh yeah. Ha ha. When he appears in the doorway and then appears behind them, horrified. Classic horror movie. And especially because he's this character who literally early in the book is described as a Labrador retriever.
And it made so much sense about why he loved Blue so much, because if Blue amplifies everyone's energy, it's oh, that's where he feels most alive, is when he's hanging out with Blue.
So sad. And he
that's
pets
where
her
he has
hair.
The most of a personality too, because otherwise he's not really saying much. But
it's really sad.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Rank characters by the most pure to least pure. The 4 Raven Boys and Blue.
Most pure.
How do you pick between Adam and Noah?
I was actually just thinking that. How do you pick between Adam and Noah?
Because after that, it falls into place. But like, how do you pick?
Okay, I'm going to say Noah because Adam makes a very strong choice at the end, which we'll talk about. And I think that knocks him down a peg. I think he's still pure and he's still my number 2. And then after that, I want to say Gansey. Gansey at his heart is a pure golden boy who just wants a quest and wants his friends to come with him. And then after that, I'm going to say Blue because Blue is pure in her own way, but she also is feisty, and I love her for that. And then Ronan is last as the least pure, but also I feel like he moves up in the ranks, I think, as the books go on. All right, here's another question for you. Did you ever ship Blue and Adam?
Oh, 100%. There's that line where Adam is just looking at her and he's like, "You sure are pretty," and I'm like,
broke my heart. I forgot how much I loved.
My heart left my body.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just so pure and nice.
Adam is such a sweet boy, and it's so clear in this book. Also, I know what's going to happen, and this book just feels such pure young love. Adam and Blue's excited about a boy liking her for the first time.
From Call Down the Hawk, I know who Adam ends up with. So, and from this, we know that, like, clearly something happens between Blue and Gansey.
Obviously,
because of,
Gansey is
the tree.
Yeah.
But, like,
I think Adam might be the protagonist of this book.
I think that's fair to say. I would initially say that I would think that it would be Blue.
Yeah.
But, like, it really does all hinge on Adam, ultimately.
On Adam's choices. Even though it's Gansey's quest, Adam is the one who makes this final decision to wake the ley line so that Welk and Neve can't do it. He's the one who makes a literal sacrifice, which is usually towards the end of any sort of story in movies or books or any sort of storytelling is going to be what a hero does.
And he's the one who figures out how to make a sacrifice without killing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like what sets him apart from the other characters in this.
Yes, because everyone, I mean, even Gansey assumes the only way that we're going to do this is by hurting someone, and that's why he decides not to do it.
I'm really excited to see, like, how do we bridge, like, the Adam Parrish that I know from this book, and then the Adam Parrish that I know from Call Down the Hawk, who's, like, you know, I don't want to spoil anything for people who, like me, haven't read these books before, but, like, his, like, heart is the same, but his, like, got a lot of, like, darkness and stuff that he's dealing with.
He's gone through a lot by the end of the Raven cycle, can I just say?
And it's like, how is it because of this Cabe's Water thing, or is there more that's going to go on? I'm extremely curious.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I'm going to read them.
You have to keep reading. Thank you so much for joining us for the Dreamer Files. We've had so much fun talking about the Raven Boys, and we're really excited to dive into the Dream Thieves, which is the next part of our reread.
As promised, we're leaving you guys with a video from Maggie where she's going to give you some behind the scenes on the Raven Boys, so keep watching for that.
Stay ravenous.
Bye.
Bye.
The Raven Boys is not remotely an autobiographical novel, but nonetheless, there are a few bits of truth that made their way into the pages of the manuscript. For instance, I can think of a couple of moments from my college experience that made it into the book. The first one is a film that Blue refers to. Even Dwarves Started Small is the English translation of this title. It's a German film that one of my friends watched in college for her German major. And I've never seen it, so I can't tell you if it's any good. I can tell you I looked it up, and it is definitely in German. The other part of my college experience that made it into the book is I used to take a lot of Latin in college, just like the boys studied Latin at Aglenby. And like Ronan, I used to sneak in before class and write jokes in Latin on the chalkboard, anonymously. On the very last day of the semester, my very last year that I was taking Latin, as I was creeping out, the haggard old Latin professor stopped smoking long enough to capture me by the door, and she said, I know it was you. However did you know? She let out a puff of smoke, and she said, because none of the others learned to speak a word of Latin in there.